But we have one guest already, so it has to be very quick. Fred, welcome to our show. You will be our last guest. Any questions or comments on this topic or what you've heard so far? Fred.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the panelists. No, I've just been following this, and it's very interesting.
Can you speak up a little bit or fix your audio? I mean, very faint. Try again, admin. Try now.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is it better?
Much better, much better.
Okay, I just had to be closer. I only joined like 10, 15 minutes ago, and I only heard the last couple of minutes where the Christians were saying some things, trying to argue for their case. The only thing I didn't hear is anybody first describe what it is when you're talking about create, how you do this, where do you see this? Is putting two blocks of Lego together, is that a creation? So, you know, the general questions I did not hear being in any way addressed. It's always about, well, creation in Christianity is this, and in Islam is this. So there's just a different kind of ideologies that are being, you know, thrown around.
Sure. What's your perspective?
My perspective is that I was not created or created depending on how you define create. If I take a piece of wood and I make a bench out of it, am I creating a bench or am I rearranging molecules? I was created, if you want to call it that, by my parents having sex with a sperm and an ovum, joining, merging, fusing. And this is creating a new personality, but it is still using pre-existing molecules and atoms and matter, which is just being rearranged. It is only the very specific rearrangement that then creates consciousness, which makes me into a human being with sentient abilities.
Sure. Do you believe matter or whatever something consists of eventually has always been in existence?
Absolutely, yes.
Right. So you are just a transformation of that thing, right?
Correct, yeah.
Right.
Well,
so the thing that exists... Sorry, continue.
Same as you.
Right. So do you believe the thing that's existed always without a beginning, you know, eternal existence, had some inherent properties or attributes?
I didn't say that something existed without a beginning or something. There is no way of knowing this, so there's no way of making a claim about this since we don't know this.
What I'm trying to say is if something exists now, there cannot be a time, when I'm using time in a very crude sense, there was absolute nothingness. Do you agree?
No, I don't, because we don't know this.
So you have a possibility where absolute nothingness could exist as a possibility.
I am not saying it can't. I'm not saying that it does. I'm saying we cannot have an opinion on this because we do not have the information.
I think we can, because there's only two logical explanations. If something exists now, either something existed always or something didn't exist at all. There's nothing, absolute nothingness.
Well,
do you have any other options?
Yeah, of course.
Such as?
I mean, you can have a time loop.
Explain that.
Well, you can have a point in time where something went into a time loop and everything just came into existence from out of that time loop. So, yes, the mother did create herself.
Where did that mechanism come from?
I don't know. I didn't say I have an explanation for this. I'm just looking at.
But you're certain it wasn't. You're certain it wasn't a creator, though, correct?
I don't know if it was a creator. Give me the,
okay, but when you say
the criteria, give me
okay, when you say sperm, okay, when you say you came from sperm, you came from life. So that's life coming
from sperm and an ovum.
From a living being, from your father who was alive.
Correct.
So that's life coming from life. If you trace that all the way back to one cell, you get one cell, and then before that you get chemicals. So how did the chemicals self-assemble and come alive?
How should I know?
Well, okay, you're not helping your case, though, by claiming complete uncertainty.
I'm not making a case. I'm not making a case. You are. You are. What do you say?
Yeah,
what
naturalism.
How did we come into? How did you come into being then?
By designer, clearly.
By designer, clearly.
Yeah.
So if you have an artificial hip, your penis is too small, your boobs are too small.
Artificial hip.
Your eyes are too
Wait a minute.
small, your ears are
hold it.
And then you're saying this was clearly a designer. What kind of a designer is that?
Okay, produce your own hip. Produce a human being. You can't do it.
I just did. There's a human being.
An artificial hip. Producing an artificial hip. Producing an artificial. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, Tony. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. You don't have any evidence. You have no argument, but go ahead.
If I'm talking and you are talking, We cannot understand anything, and nobody can understand something.
So go ahead,
You're
go.
excited, I know.
Go.
Just calm down.
You're the one shouting.
Calm down.
Stop.
It's quite interesting. Fred speaks like stop spamming. You know,
Of
maybe,
course I am.
Of course you
Yeah.
are.
Can I,
Okay.
You said, let's take your argument. Ready? You said an artificial hip, you're going to design that. That would require intelligent agency and an engineer to even produce that artificial hip. Number one,
See,
that requires intelligence.
This is what happens when you are talking and not listening. That's not what I said.
Okay,
I
so
said
how do
very clearly, okay, are you going to shut up or are you going to talk?
go?
All right, thank you. How many words before you're going to cut in? 50?
You have no argument anyway, but go ahead.
I think Fred's getting a little bit upset. Sorry,
I'm
Fred.
not getting upset. I'm just being frustrated with idiots like this.
Well,
What
yeah.
I'm saying is,
Sorry,
you have
excuse me. If
Okay,
we
wait.
have
You
people,
know about this?
I'll bring him in, give him one more chance. We can't have Fred. We can't have this kind of direct insults. You know, as you were saying, an idiot. This is clearly an insult. If you cannot stop insulting, may I request not to join our show? I'm sure there are other very bad shows where you can join and have your insults there. If you're able to speak in a decent manner, like everyone else has been speaking for the last 3 hours almost, you're more than welcome.
Okay.
I want to hear what Tony replies back to Fred here. Tony was saying something.
I was starting to say, if I have a designer who designed me, then this designer must be incompetent because of an artificial hip, because of bad ears, bad eyes, big nose, too small this, too large this. There are too many things wrong with my body to say that this was a clever, intelligent
Even
design.
ready, I want to reply to that, Sabor. Even if it was a bad design, it's still designed. Even if it was poorly designed, you have a design.
Show me the evidence.
Okay, so Fred.
Easily.
Fred, I'm just going to take
Tony, one by one. Sabor, please.
Yeah. So
okay, go ahead.
Fred, the thing is, if you're going to say something's bad design, then you have to specify what the design specifications are. Exactly. Why is it bad according to a certain design? So I'll give you an example, right? If you look at from a biological perspective, I could say, well, when I walk out in my area, Harlesden, right, and just 2 days ago, someone was shot dead, just like about 200 meters away from here, yeah? I could say, well, why didn't the guy have bulletproof skin? You know, that's bad design. Or in the words of Alex Rosenberg, you know, the zebra, when it's being chased by the lion, why doesn't its forearms, stop spamming, can you just keep quiet for a second, yeah? So what the zebra, Rosenberg says that why can't the zebra basically say, I'm poorly designed because I should be able to turn my forearms into machine guns and to shoot the actual lion. So the idea of perfection is a very slippery slope, and you move away from pure biological considerations, and now you're starting to talk about theology here. So for you to say something is bad design, you have to admit that you're making theological presuppositions. As long as you admit that and you try and justify them, then we can move on. But if you're going to try and slip those in without justifying them, then I'm going to have to hold you to account.
Okay, you're barking up totally the wrong tree. What I'm saying is, if I look at my design, I'm
you need to speak up a little bit more, Fred.
Oh shit! The stupid microphone. I'm sorry. The point that I'm making is, I'm an animal. I am able to compare myself to other animals. So in other words, if I look at other animals, how they can walk, how they can carry, how they can look, how they can hear, how they can do things, even if I look amongst my own species, there are some who can live for 90 years and some only live for 50. We have cancer, we have all sorts of things which are damaging our own bodies. If I need an artificial hip at the age of 50, that is not common in this group, in this species. If I have animals that can hear better, walk faster, have more stamina, can do everything better than a human being, I'm saying that is not a good design. So I am able to compare things, but no animal has bulletproof skin. But there's a lot of animals that can see better, talk better, do everything better than me.
So let's just start with something. Can you hear me right now? Can you hear me? Right? Did you hear the argument that I actually made, and did you understand it?
You did not make an argument. All you said is you said I cannot
Repeat
compare
what I
this if
said.
something is better or
Repeat what I
worse
said.
because you are taking something out of the ordinary, that you are saying I need to go into theology to somehow acknowledge this. I do not need to do that. I can look in my species. I can look in the whole
Fred,
I don't know,
Fred,
the
one
whole
step at a
genome, and I
time.
can see
You
that
seem
it's
to have a
wrong.
bit of a hearing problem. Repeat my argument so I understand that you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, you said several things. You said I need to go into theology. I need to acknowledge this before I can move.
Is that all I said? Is
Then
that
you
all
said,
you heard?
then you said that I cannot know what is better or worse and what is good and what is bad. I need to have an objective criteria by which to manage that, and that is nonsense. As I just showed you it's nonsense.
Even if it was poorly designed, even if it was poorly designed, it's still a design.
Tony,
Okay,
one second.
my expectation of a God is higher than yours. If this is why I
Fred,
said
carry
if
on.
this is okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to answer or not?
I'm waiting for you to regurgitate what I said so I understand that you understood me.
Okay, I did.
Okay, is a Model T poorly designed? The first car, the Model T,
Hang on,
is that poorly designed?
How many people am I talking to?
Okay, Tony, let's Sabul speak
So,
to him for now.
Tony, I'm trying to check the hearing of Fred here, yeah? Fred,
Yeah.
repeat my argument so I understand that you understood it.
Okay, I thought I did.
He's asking you to repeat what he said.
But I did. I just repeated it.
Well, clearly you didn't understand it.
No, he doesn't want to understand it.
No,
Look.
because you did not.
Can I add the point real quick?
Fred,
Yeah,
Fred,
add the point.
Fred, 1 second. What you're doing right now is this. You're trapped and you're trying to get out of this trap, yeah? And it's like trying to play chess with a schizophrenic pigeon. What you got to do right now is you got to make some sense. You're not making any sense right now. I gave you a very sound philosophical argument, which is valid, which is what philosophers, atheist philosophers like Alex Rosenberg speak about, which is the idea of perfection is a slippery slope which needs theological presuppositions. This is also something that Elliot Sober and other philosophers have spoken about. So right now you're trapped and you're trying to wriggle your way out. I'm going to give you the mic for the next couple of minutes and let's see if you make any sense.
Okay. Why should I care what Rosenberg or anybody else says? Why should I care about their opinions? Give me facts, not philosophy. Give me the facts, because what you are doing is you're always talking about philosophy. I'm talking about the doing.
Okay, you want facts? I'll give you facts.
50 people,
one second.
Yeah.
you can have 50 philosophers standing around a car and discussing an oil change, but you need one mechanic to actually go and do the oil change. So what you are doing is you're yakking away at okay, theoretical this and Rosenberg this and blah, blah, blah. And then you're saying, well, I'm trapped. No, I'm not. You're not addressing my points at all. You're trying to shift this into an area that is superfluous. We're talking about creation. We're not talking about
Can I answer this?
Tony, 1 second. Carry on.
We're talking about the creation by a superhuman, supernatural, whatever entity. And I'm saying if that supernatural entity is this incompetent and you call that design, fine. Go ahead and do it. I don't have any kind of argument to withdraw that, to refute that.
Okay,
no.
Tony,
go.
Sorry, Fred, what you just did there is you made a philosophical point, but in the beginning you said, I don't want to talk about philosophy.
Go away from philosophy.
Your point
you
was
don't understand
philosophical.
it. You don't
Your point was
understand philosophy.
philosophical.
Go away from it.
Wait, hang on. Fred, your entire argument was philosophical and it was poor. And what I'm trying to do is trying to get you to understand. You can't say, I'm not talking about philosophy and make a philosophical point at the same time. You're just embarrassing yourself right now.
Okay, can I make a statement?
Well, one sec, Tony. Let's hear him out. He's in a hole and he's digging and he found another body and he's going to keep digging, yeah?
Oh, he has no evidence for it coming about naturally.
Why are you doing that? I am saying if you are making the claim that there is a designer and you do not have any evidence for that, why should I believe that? I am telling you, if I look at my body, I don't see any coherent design.
Let me pull you back into your hole. This is the hole that you are in. You said bad design exists. And what I'm asking you is, for you to judge something to be bad design, you need to know a print specification. So I'm going to give you a paradigm from the Quran to relate to. God says in the Quran, whoever he wills, he gives males. Whoever he wills, he gives females. Whoever he wills, he makes barren. Whoever he wills, he makes barren. So from a Quranic perspective, barrenness wouldn't be bad design. It's part of the test of life. What you're doing is you're clutching at straws right now. You're saying there's bad design, but you have zero evidence for that. And you're saying I'm not making a philosophical argument. You are making a philosophical argument, but you're just making a very poor one. So let's go back to you, because I really want to hear you get out of this hole.
This is not a philosophical argument if I tell you that my evidence is that if I have a bad hip that needs to be replaced at the age of 50 and every other human can live until the age of 80, then that is bad design. So if you are making a case for a bad designer, be my guest.
So you want a hip that lasts forever.
You are doing. You are asking me, am I created? So I'm saying, no, I'm not created.
Tony, 1 second.
Yeah.
You're really great at philosophy here, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to say it's got nothing to do with philosophy. I've got my own thing. I don't care about Rosenberg. I don't care about Elias Sober. I don't care about these guys. Well, let's go to nature right now. Let's go to all these philosophy journals, philpapers.com. What have you published? Have you come up with anything sound? Have you come up with anything rigorous? You just turn up on a Saturday afternoon on a YouTube page with a stupid picture and you try and make some points and get refuted, right? What I want you to understand is you're looking really silly right now. And you're not only challenging us, you're challenging mainstream academics, you're challenging atheists, the very people that you're supposed to be aligning yourself with. So what I want you to do is this: you've just been judged and you've been, and I want you to actually address this particular point. Your entire argument is philosophical and it's poor. And what I want you to do is to justify it.
So, boy, I've just refuted you. I've just published a couple of videos.
What are you talking
You haven't refuted anybody. You made a poor argument.
What, Fred? Fred.
Okay, can I ask a question, Fred? Some more.
But the thing, what I am saying is not a philosophical argument. What I am saying is I am not created.
If you're saying you refuted me, wait 1 second. If you're saying you refuted me, which one of my premises did you refute?
None.
Well, I think it was 43 minutes or something. Do you want me to now read the whole video, watch the whole video, or what? Go and watch the video, then you can see it. Go.
Yeah, okay, Fred, you want facts?
The video and then come back to me.
Fred,
Fred, what you got to do is this. One second.
Let's stick to
Fred,
the point here.
what you got to do is this. I'm going to give you the mic right now. I'm going to give you the mic. So what I want you to do is to tell me, if you've debunked me using without philosophy, tell me which one of my premises did you challenge?
I am talking about creation. I'm not talking about my video. You said, what have you published? What have you done? And I've just told you that. You
published.
I'm making claims.
He's mad at God because he didn't.
You don't. Now,
Fred, what you're doing right now is you're embarrassing yourself right now.
This is what you asked.
You're just doing a live stream.
Sabor.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't have a single clue about my argument. And instead, what you're doing is you're trying to attack me and you're throwing atheist academics under the bus and you're just looking like a muppet. And what you've got to realize is right now this is being recorded and you're looking very silly right now. You've got your little YouTube page and you're trying to make a little video, but right now you're looking extremely vulnerable. And I want to give you the mic to you and I want to hear you talk more, because the more you're talking, the more you're slipping up.
Okay.
Fred.
What I have done is I've taken your videos, I've looked at your arguments, I found that you don't have arguments. What you are doing is, all you are doing is...
Wait, hang on. How can you say I don't have an
argument
at the same time you say you refuse my argument? You just contradicted yourself. You said, I don't have an argument, and I refuted your argument. Which one is it?
I have taken what you have submitted as what you think is an argument, which actually is only quoting other people. You don't have an argument yourself. All you're doing is you're quoting other people. I have shown two things. The people who you have quoted are not saying what you are saying.
Guess what?
What you said they are saying is not what you think.
What you just did right now, Fred, is this. You said, I don't have an argument. I regurgitate the argument of other people. That's true. I do regurgitate the arguments of other people. Then you said I misrepresented them. Previously, you said they don't matter. Which one is it? Is it I misrepresented them, or is it that they don't matter? You've contradicted yourself yet again.
No, I have not. You saying things I am silly. You saying I am contradicting does
Fred,
not make it so.
Very
what
silly right now.
Every time I say something, you
are they irrelevant? Are they irrelevant, or have I misrepresented them? Which one is it?
Both.
Is your brain intelligently designed,
what
Fred?
you are doing, Sabur, is just
Fred,
quoting
Fred,
other
you're
people. You
embarrassing
don't
yourself
understand
right now.
You're talking again.
Yeah,
You're
okay, Fred.
embarrassing yourself
Support.
right now.
Talk for
Let me
30
ask you a question.
seconds.
Let me ask you a question.
No,
If
you're
I
always asking, and
misrepresented
then when I'm
Alex
answering, you
Rosenberg,
interrupt.
1 second. If I misrepresented Alex Rosenberg, please tell me his argument.
What you are doing is you are quoting other
No,
people.
answer this
And then
question.
when I
If I
look at what you are,
misrepresented Alex Rosenberg, what's his argument? Please answer the question.
what you are doing is you're taking people and you're just misquoting them. And then
Go
when
ahead.
I look at what they are saying, I realize you don't even understand what they are saying.
So
I think it's quite fair.
Several
Sorry to cut you
examples
off.
Sabor.
that you don't
Is it
understand
the
this, but
case,
I
yes?
do not want
Sorry.
to talk
I'm
about
gonna
that.
question you with one simple question right now. Which part of Alex Rosenberg or which book did I quote that argument from that you're saying I misrepresented?
Yeah, he doesn't know. He
Fred,
doesn't know. He's just a hardened atheist.
I am muted. I'm constantly being muted. As soon as I try and say something,
Um,
somebody
Fred,
talks
or stop
over me.
snapping.
See, again,
You are only
you're talking
muted
over me.
once, and if you think once muting you once is constantly muted, then actually it tells a
It's
lot
not
in
once.
volumes.
It's not
I
once.
want him to answer my question.
It's not
Fred,
once.
which
You can
part,
watch in the video
which
later
book,
on how many times
which
I've been
book
muted.
did I
Okay.
misquote?
So
Which
what?
book?
Look, you don't have a point here. You don't have
I'm
anything here.
asking you, if you said I misrepresented Alex Rosenberg, which book did I argue? Did I take the argument and misrepresent it? Please tell me that.
I said that every time I go and look at anything that you
Go
quote
ahead. Which
from
book
any
did you
one
look
of
up?
those people, I have found that you
Which
don't
book did you look
understand
up?
what they are saying.
Which book did you look
don't
up?
understand what you are saying.
So let
And
me
you
ask
are
you
saying
something.
what others
Let
are
me ask
saying
you
without
something.
understanding it.
Let
So
me
you're
ask
not
you
making a
something.
case.
I am happy to admit I'm wrong.
You're talking,
Which book did I misrepresent?
Why are you talking all the time? Why are
Which
you
book?
talking?
Because
I'm
I'm asking
asking
you
you
a
a
question.
Can I just interject both of you?
Yeah.
I think
want
it's a
reaction.
fair
I want
question.
creation.
Fred, one moment, please. I think it's a fair question Sabur has asked. If you think, in your opinion, that Sabur has misrepresented someone's arguments, it is only fair to say what the argument that he's misrepresenting. This is what Sabur is asking. I think everyone who's watching is all trying to understand that point. So would you be fair to kindly just tell us what is the argument Sabur is misrepresenting from those two individuals?
Watch my videos. It's there.
No,
I'm not
it's not about watching your
this
videos.
Today. I'm talking about creation. I'm talking about where we created, and I don't care what somebody else said. I don't care about somebody else's opinion. I am giving you my opinion, and if you
And
have
your
a different
opinion doesn't
piece of
count
evidence or
because you
something,
haven't
then bring
published
it to
any
me.
papers, you
I'm
haven't done
talking
any
about
research, and you have
creation.
no idea what you're talking
over me
about.
again.
I asked you a simple question, you didn't answer it, so I'm going to ask you again.
I'm not
Like
answering.
Mansoor said, which
not
books
answering.
am I misrepresenting, if I'm misrepresenting any?
We are talking about creation. And the thing is that I have evidence.
What evidence do you have of materialism?
I am not created by a supernatural being, because if it were a supernatural being, my expectation was that I would be created
You're
in
just
a much
deflecting the
better
question.
way.
You're just
And
deflecting
I
the
am
How long
question.
should, wait, let me ask Fred a question here. For you, you're not happy with living at the age of 50, getting a hip replacement. At what age should you have got a hip replacement for you to believe that you're created by a supernatural being?
Yeah, 300 years.
If I were created properly, never.
Never. Okay, wait 1 second. And would you live forever? Would you live forever?
Never until I die. I'm taking
never
a
until you
finite
die.
end.
Fred.
Yeah, so how long, Fred? Forever?
This is unspecified. Why? Okay. You see, this is the problem.
What are you talking about?
All right, can I,
what I am
Sabor?
talking about is that I have a limited lifespan. If I look at other creations in my species, in the animal world, anything that I see around me that lives, then I can compare this.
Sabor, I'll be back in a few minutes. I'll leave it to you.
What?
Okay, Fred. Sabor, can I say something? Okay. Number one, you want facts, right, Fred? Do you know that life only comes from life? We have never seen life coming from non-life. Number one, that's a fact.
Well,
that's a fact.
We've never seen a black swan until we did.
So? You're believing this.
Hang on a second, Fred. Hang on, Fred. You just fell into a really big hole right now. Tony made a really good point. And you said, well, potentially in the we can see a black duck in the future. So you're basically proving your entire system is a faith-based system, is not based on evidence, according to your own words.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
And do you believe
that does not make it a fact? No.
Okay, Fred, do you believe? Okay, was a Model T? Did a Model T have a designer?
Model T had a designer. Yes.
Yes. Now that's a poor car compared to today's standards, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Could a car ever produce itself without an engineer and a mechanic?
No, it couldn't.
Okay. So when you look at the DNA molecule, you have information there. If I gave you all the chemical, let me finish. If I gave you all the chemicals needed in pure form to produce DNA and you put it in a test tube, a nice clean test tube in a protected laboratory environment, it would never self-assemble into DNA, ever.
And so what?
So how do you get information? You want to ignore everything we say, and then you have no argument yourself.
I'm not ignoring what you are saying. I'm saying
okay. What we're saying is
it's irrelevant what you are saying. It's not.
No, because you have design and information there. You're mad at God because you don't live. Okay. Yes, there is
evidence that is designed. Show me the evidence.
You need sequenced information to produce DNA molecules. It's not just chemicals. Yes, you do.
No.
They have never produced DNA. You're ignorant.
Who cares that we have never produced ignorance?
Because that's
have had a chance for the last 1,400 years to show how technically advanced they are. They have never managed this. That is the only thing
you're mad at God because you can't live till 1,000.
For 300 years, we have started looking at nature, and now you expect in 300 years to catch up everything there is.
They're not making any progress. You're ignorant. You know how ignorant you sound right now? You know nothing about chemistry. Zero. Zero.
Just because you're saying these things.
And just because you're saying it, wait a minute. Are you an authority? Are you a PhD? Are you a PhD chemist? Are you a PhD chemist? No. You're an internet atheist clown.
How do you know this?
Can we just
because I've studied it, and I'm a pharmaceutical chemist.
Evidence.
I just showed you that life only comes from life. Do you have any? Do you have life coming from non-life? Do you have life coming from non-life?
Yes. You have a big mouth, just like
so do you.
Just talking, but you're not giving me evidence.
Okay, so give me evidence that life can arise from non-life. Go.
I didn't say it can.
I'm
not making this claim.
Fred, do you understand what's happening to you right now?
I do not make this claim. I told you this in the beginning.
So you have no argument for your side. Zero. You just don't like ours.
I have a side. I have reality. This is not a side reality.
And in reality, all we see is life coming from life. That's a fact.
Oh my God, yes, that's a fact.
Yeah, it's called the law of biogenesis. You know what the law of biogenesis is, dummy?
Excuse me. Tony, with all due respect.
Okay, go ahead.
Can we leave ad hominem's aside? I mean, not in this discussion.
Okay, but see, we're being attacked, and he wants facts. I give him facts.
Still,
he doesn't listen.
It doesn't matter if he attacks our ideological positions or theological positions.
Okay.
We need to still have a very decent conversation. Continue.
I am saying I am not created. There is no reason to believe that I am created without a shred of evidence. And all you are doing is saying, yeah, but this guy says this guy says this. You don't have that. You don't have that.
Fred, I just want to make one last point. I want to make one last point because you sound like a broken record and you're not.
Yeah, total.
You are the one who needs to bring the evidence.
I'm going to make one last point here. There are people who spend their lives thinking about these topics. There are people who spend their entire careers thinking about these topics. They write books, they publish papers, they have philosophical arguments. And what you're doing is reducing all of that work, all of the academic discussion down to a few poorly worded, incoherent sound bites, which you're going to try and make a meal from, right? The reality is, everything you're saying right now, give me one philosophical paper, one philosopher who's willing to acknowledge your position and that crude reality which you're trying to point at. One. Give me one.
How can I do that?
Because they don't exist.
Give me one designer. Give me one God. Give me one creator.
Listen, what you're doing right now is this. You're in a hole, you're digging, and you're digging, and you're getting further, and you're finding bodies, and you're carrying on digging. And what you got to realize is right now you don't have a single argument, and you're just coming across in this live stream as someone who is just trying to win using pure sophistry, and it's not going to work. It didn't work with Tony, it didn't work with me, it's not going to work with anyone else watching. And all of these attacks that you're making, you misrepresented this person, you did this, you did that. I'm going to give you the mic for the next 1 minute, And I'm going to
That's what you
ask
always
you.
promise.
I'm going to ask you one simple question, which Fred asked you. Give us a shred of evidence you can get life from non-life.
I'm Fred.
Oh, Tony asked you.
Tony.
Yes, you get
Yeah.
so emotional about these things. Come on.
Can you speak
There
up a little
is-
bit more, Fred?
Sorry, this is this microphone. There is no evidence for non-life creating life. We don't know this yet. I did not make this claim. I said very clearly in the beginning, we cannot make any kind of statement regarding the origin of life. We have three things where we don't know anything. We don't know the origin of the universe. We don't know the origin of life. We don't know the origin of conscience. And those
So
are the
why
three
do you
areas
say-
where you, come on, you told me that I can have 60 seconds. Now you're talking over me again.
Go on then.
So there are three areas: origin of universe, origin of life, origin of consciousness, which we do not have the answers to. And this is where you point the God of the gaps. And that is all you have. And then you go into philosophy and say, yeah, but there are philosophers who are saying this and this and this. And it doesn't make sense. Now, the last thing that I want to say, because I know that I am an animal, yes. 10 seconds. What I'm looking forward to is your refutation of my video. Let's see you do it, because there I have the evidence. But you're asking me now from the top of my head to go and refute the philosophers that you don't even understand, which I've done in the video where I've had time. Bye-bye. Go for it.
Yeah. You have high hopes for all
so-
your beliefs.
I'm going to show you. The more you talk, the more you're slipping up. So right now, you just said you have no evidence that you can get life from non-life, and
No,
at
I
the
don't.
same, Fred, I didn't interrupt you.
I did not make that claim, but why are you telling me
Fred,
something
let me-
that I did not claim?
Fred, I didn't interrupt you. Just give me a second. Okay. What you said is basically this. You said you didn't make the claim that life comes from non-life. You didn't make that claim, correct?
Correct.
And you said we don't know, correct?
Correct.
Didn't you
Yes.
earlier on say that I know I didn't come from a creator?
No, I didn't say that. I said we cannot know whether somebody came from a creator. I know that
No,
I
you
was not
contradicted yourself.
created by
Yep.
a
Okay,
supernatural
Tony,
being.
didn't he say that a second ago? I did not come
I
from a creator.
said,
Yes,
I
he
know
did.
that
He's
I
certain.
And he
do-
contradicted himself again. Well
Yeah.
done.
said-
Good job. Well done, Sabor.
I said,
Well done.
I know that I was not created by a supernatural
You know what this
creator.
is?
That's what I
This is
said.
really poor marketing.
Yeah. This is an internet atheist right here. This is the
Come
internet
to
atheist.
my YouTube page and refute my argument, but I don't know what I'm talking about right now. But you see, your click funnel, which is this YouTube live stream right now, it's not going to make me go to your YouTube page because right now you're not making any sense.
Okay, I can't
Yeah.
force you to do this. I'm just telling you, I refuted you thoroughly.
You didn't refute anything.
If you can't
Okay.
handle this, okay.
You didn't-
then
So
it's
as it
Fred.
seems, all of you, we're just repeating the same thing. Full Metal
Yep.
Theist, do you want to add something on this? Elion, you want to say something? Do we have FMT with us? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say that it was painful to hear to this because, Fred, in all honesty with you, you were very self-contradicting. You kept claiming to have evidence. When we got into it, you would say, I don't know. You saying philosophy is bad and all that, and you don't realize that you're making philosophy in this very moment. When you talk about theology, when you talk about cosmology, all this is philosophy. Even how you get to know stuff is philosophy. You just don't know it. And it says a lot. When you speak about saying that we don't know how the universe came into being and all that, I can accept all that jargon and all stuff, but I can tell you that we have compelling reasons to sort out some theories and accept some others. And a creator of the universe is a most valid position to accept instead of no creation or eternal universe. There is no such thing as eternal universe. An infinite past is not even possible. You don't get to speak with us if the universe existed eternally in the past, because you would have to traverse an infinite amount of moments. And before now, then there would always be a yesterday. And this, you right now, contradicting yourself would not be possible if the universe was eternal in the past. So I was not very, how can I say, impressed by what you said.
I'm just going to summarize what Full Metal Theist said. he said you would not have the luxury to contradict yourself if you did believe what you said, because then you'd have an infinite regress of events.
Yeah, exactly.
And if I have 10 seconds to finish this, if I have 10 seconds to finish this, we started talking about a designer, and then you came out with a terrible argument, which Sabur pointed out. I'm using a smartphone right now, and the fact that I have to change it in a couple of years, it doesn't mean that it's not designed. Okay, so
right.
the imperfection in a design does not disprove the design itself. So if you say bad designer,
you don't understand anything that I'm saying. I told you very
listen,
clearly.
listen. If you, I can accept you by calling. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. If you accept a bad designer, as you called it, let me tell you that there is something called a relativist perspective. Not everything is bound by your knowledge. Like if you don't know the meaning of a certain design, for you to call it bad, then I can tell you that maybe someone else has a little bit more of data in regards to that design, and from that perspective, he can call it a good design. But if you start and accept a bad designer, I will say, okay, welcome. You're starting to accept the designer, and that's fine with me. And maybe we can talk about the relativistic perspective and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, if you can accept a bad designer, I'm fine with that too.
He didn't say that. I'm so
I said that.
He didn't say that. What he said that.
I said that.
What he said is not that he accepts there's a bad designer. That's you're misunderstanding him again.
No,
what he's saying is that
I'm Fred. Fred just said this, not he. I did.
So, what, you're happy with a bad designer?
No, I said to FMT, if he's happy with the bad designer, then it's okay.
Yeah, but he never said he's happy with a bad designer. You didn't understand his argument.
I didn't say that he said this. You need to listen, Subur. You see, this is the problem. You're not listening. You're talking all the time. You're not listening. What I said is if there's a designer who is not able to design me properly, then this is a bad designer. And this is my expectation of a designer is of a much higher level than yours or FMT's. And if FMT says that there's a designer that I am happy with who's a bad designer, well, then if he's happy with the bad designer, so be it. I wouldn't be. If I would be,
what you're doing is you're putting words in his mouth. I'm just going to ask him directly. FMT, did you say you're happy with a bad designer?
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I've said. Fred, let me ask you a simple question, because listen, I
so
really
you need to listen. I said that I said that.
Fred, let me ask you a quick
question.
Let me ask you a quick question. Fred, do you agree with me if I told you that some people see a glass of water as half empty and some others as half full? Would you agree?
Yes, I know this.
Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you say a bad designer, what I'm telling you is that you, in accordance with the data and knowledge you have, you may think it's bad, but some other people may think it's good.
That's right.
Do you agree with me?
No, I don't agree with you.
Of course not, because he has to disagree.
You contradicted yourself again.
Because there's a way, objectively, that
you know how you're being
having a function. So, listen. Don't talk all the time. If people talk, just listen. If I go and I compare two people, one with a broken hip and one with a functioning hip, who is going to be better off? Is it the person with a broken hip or the one with a functioning hip?
It'd be the one with the functioning hip.
I asked FMT, not you. So you're in listening mode now. I'm talking to FMT.
No, it's a free
fall. Can't you understand what I'm saying? You're in listening mode. I'm talking to FMT.
Not really, because
yes, really. If this was FMT, this is not you. You're out of this at the moment.
You're committing the fallacy of basically linking a point which is completely irrelevant, which somehow looks like it's relevant. It's a non sequitur. So you're saying a person with a broken hip is in a worse position than a person with a functioning hip. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
Okay, that is my argument.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
can I make a point quickly?
A functioning hip, then I can't help you.
Okay, let's give Hashim some time to make some points.
Okay, Fred, I think you started off on the right track to ask about the creator and where we came from and so on, which is actually the topic of the conversation. And then you shifted to a bad designer. The first thing is you need to identify where did these raw materials come from, the atoms and molecules you talk about. You mentioned that is a person who builds with Lego bricks a crater. Yes, but he still gets the Lego bricks from somewhere.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's
So
what I said. Yeah.
the question is, when we go to the very beginning, yes, when we go to how the universe came into existence, your question, sorry, your answer has always been, I don't know. Am I right?
No, not for everything.
Do you know where the universe came from?
Unknowns. I explained
Where did the universe
we
come
have
from?
3 areas that we do not have sufficient information yet. That's what I said.
No, wait.
Because I'm honest.
Can it come?
That's it.
Okay, can it come from nothing, Fred? Can the universe come from nothing?
Why are you asking me questions when I just said we do not know yet? Why are you now
No,
asking
even
me
in
questions?
future or even now, can the universe, logically speaking, ever come from nothing?
I just explained it, yes.
So do you know, does nothing even exist?
The thing is, you can now have a philosophical discussion about the value
No,
of
nothing.
nothing.
You
When
don't.
nothing has a word,
You
which
don't
is
have to have a
something.
philosophical
And then you
discussion.
can
Nothing
spend a
even
lot of
exists,
time
or is
on
it
this,
just a
which I
concept?
don't want to do.
Yeah, you want to avoid this topic. This is the topic of the conversation. This
No, the
whole
topic is not
live
where
stream is
did
about
matter come
creation,
from.
not about a bad creation or a good creation, but whether we came from something or nothing, about creation itself. And you're saying it's possible that we could have come from nothing, but nothing logically doesn't even exist. It's just an abstract. It's a concept.
Now we're talking. Yes, you
Yes.
got it. Exactly. Teach that to Subwa, please.
No,
Now,
I'm teaching you, my friend.
Okay.
Because if something doesn't even exist, how can it bring something of material into existence?
Okay. Have you heard of the
It's like
physicist
a big magic trick you're talking about. You know, like somebody just says comes from magic.
Have you heard of the physicist Gottfried Gott?
Say again?
Or Siegfried Gott? I can't remember. There's a physicist by the name of Gott, and he has solved exactly this problem.
What?
How did he solve it?
With the time loop. I just explained it.
A time loop. So
Yes.
just one more, I mean, all of you, just 1 second. Let's understand this argument. In a time loop, what happens?
What happens is that
you need to speak up a little bit. I'm having difficulty.
Time loop even exists.
I don't know how to climb inside this stupid microphone. I don't even know how to make it louder. I'm sure there is a way, but I don't know how to come up.
Just come a bit closer to it.
Okay. So what he is saying is, if in the beginning there was a time loop, what can happen is that something that did not exist, in other words, the total void, looped in time and then came out as the universe.
Okay, just stop there for a second. Something
like
that didn't exist means it was non-existent.
Correct.
So non-existence comes into existence.
Correct.
How does he explain that?
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't explain it. He says it's a theoretical possibility.
No, how is it a possibility? If something is
the time loop, this
non-existent,
is exactly the point.
No. How is this even a valid argument to consider?
It's not a valid argument to consider. It's an option.
Yeah, let me take that option. I would say how this option is not even it's invalid to begin with. If something is non-existent to begin with, non-existent, it has nothing. It has no power. It has no energy, no quantum, no gravity, no fluctuation, no hadron, lepton, whatever. It has nothing.
It has a word.
Sorry?
It has a word.
No.
A word?
Nothing is something.
No, it has nothing. It's a non-existence.
So nothing has something. It has a nothing. The word nothing is already something.
No, it's not. Now you're becoming philosophical.
There's nothing there.
In this example that you were sharing from this particular individual, non-existence looped into existence. So this non-existence, was it non-existent or was it in existence?
I don't know. I'm not a theoretical physicist. I just heard him in a lecture proposing this as a viable model, and he brought a model along with him. He explained it, and that's all I know. So this is just one option that I'm saying you can get something from out of this.
That's fine, Fred. But so far from what we've understood from you, Fred, what we've understood from you, this model doesn't make even little sense, because the way you've expressed it, maybe it's not the way he expressed it, but in your expression, it makes zero sense. Why?
That is possible.
Non-existence is non-existence. It cannot come into existence. Just like Professor Lawrence Krauss used to sell the idea that the universe can come from nothing, and then it turned out to be actually he's defending, saying, my nothing is something. So it isn't non-existent to begin with. It wasn't nothing to begin with. There was always something. So we come to the conclusion.
What you don't understand is there are different things which are being called nothing. So the total emptiness, the void of any kind of matter, of atoms, we still, if you look, have you heard of quantum field theory?
Yes. Have
Okay,
you?
so you can, yeah. Have you? You don't know. Okay, what is quantum field theory?
Okay, before we go into that, in
You see,
quantum field.
because this is Mansoor, I've
Okay,
heard you
Fred,
do this so
Fred,
many times. Do you know?
okay, I'm explaining quantum field theory to you.
But you don't know anything about this.
I'm explaining to you.
Go into
In quantum field theory, I thought I was explaining. In quantum field theory, there is no such thing as non-existence, which comes into existence. Am I right?
This is something like a car cannot go to Mars. What
excuse me.
About?
You said you know about quantum field theory, so let me tell you what it is. In quantum field theory, there is no such concepts as non-existence comes into existence. Am I correct?
No.
Okay, explain.
You see, now you're still starting to get there. In
quantum
field theory, what you see is that there is a quantum foam which is never at a zero level, and we can represent the universe in indentations of the different levels. So you have different fields which can be close to zero, but for example, the Higgs field can never be at zero. It's always going to be at a 2.6 or something around electron volt.
Is that existent or non-existent?
Indeterminism concept. Then you have the uncertainty principle, which further says that you will never have absolutely nothing if there is something. But this is the physical one. So you have a physical nothing, you have a philosophical nothing, and you have a layman's nothing. So you first need to determine which of the nothings are you addressing.
Sure. In the quantum field theory, Fred, is there something which is called non-existence coming into existence?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Thank you.
So within their concept, there is no thing like.
Can a car go to Mars? No, it's not designed to do that. It's a total.
Excuse me. You're trying to get away.
I heard the word design.
Knowing that you are in a trap.
I would like to know Fred's definition of
mental gymnastics. Mental gymnastics to avoid God. That's what he's using. Mental gymnastics. He has nothing.
Okay. Let me ask Fred a simple question, which all of us are trying to understand. Do you consider existence can come from non-existence?
I don't know. I've never seen it. I mean,
which is what I said. You
questions which do not make sense, and as soon as I ask you questions which make sense, then you say you don't know.
No. What I'm saying is fine.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm telling you, where is the evidence for this creator? And you're saying I don't know.
What we have demonstrated so far. What we have demonstrated so far is this: you consider. Or rather, your opinion is, your position is, you don't know, right? You're appealing to ignorance when every individual, when they understand what is existence as opposed to what is non-existence, will agree with us that non-existence cannot bring about existence. If you think it's possible, then you should have a mechanism. You should have a theory. You should have a model that, yes, this is the theory and the model and the mechanism in which non-existence can give rise to existence. Do you have anything to offer?
No.
Right. So then how can you then say it's even possible?
Exactly.
I didn't say that it's possible.
I'm not
making those claims. Again,
you said it was an option.
Into something that I never said.
You said, I asked you this specific question and you said,
yes, you stick to the
we don't know
yet. I am saying.
That's fine. That's fine, Fred.
I'm not saying.
No problem. No problem. We're going to wrap up this show soon, as you realized before you came in. It's more than like 40 minutes in this discussion. You're more than welcome again, Fred. I'll stop.
No, I'm not sure what your name is.
Sorry?
I'm being censored. All my accounts are blocked, which I had to use this one to get on the show because all my other accounts are blocked.
I can't speak for what you're saying.
This is why
we can sum up your argument, Fred. You don't know what did it, but you're certain it wasn't God.
Fred, if we wanted to ban you, we could have banned you 40 minutes ago. So don't come up with that silly argument.
Yeah.
I was blocked.
You tried it and you were served.
I was muted. What
and you can come back again and you'll be served again. No worries.
Wow,
you were muted because you were speaking at the same time, like Tony was muted when he was speaking at the same time. And don't take offense on that because we have to make sure people are heard. That's why the whole idea of muting comes in, not because to mute your voice and not to get yourself expressed. No, I think we have given enough chance to everybody to express themselves. You should refer.
I know you're frustrated, but nothing matters at the end of the day anyway.
No, today was fine. It's just that normally I'm censored, and this is what I object to.
Okay, so as I was saying, Fred, you're more than welcome to join in another show where we can discuss this further. But I would appreciate if you join a show where you do care about the things that we discuss rather than you don't care. Would that be
I do care about it. It's just that when I make an argument, then it gets sidetracked. This is the funny thing.
Okay. Let's hope that in the future discussion you do care. Thanks for
Brilliant.
joining our show. Thanks for joining our show. And
thanks for having me and keeping me on for so long. I really do appreciate it. This is honest now. This is really honest. This is the longest I've been allowed on a Muslim show, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. You're more than welcome.